that the type of content that you're going to be successful at creating is the one that you can show up and do for an unreasonable amount of time. It could be podcasts, it could be short YouTube style, it could be newsletters, it could be Twitter, it could be TikTok dances, it could be memes on Instagram. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is that you can do it for a long period of time. So just pursue content creation that sort of ties into your personality, not just what's trendy, because that will be the biggest indicator of success.
This episode is brought to you by Reliance Hospitality Global, where hospitality meets strategy. Whether you're developing your next hotel, need help navigating operations, or you're looking to increase profitability through our expert consulting and business process outsourcing services, Reliance has you covered. From boutique independents to full-service brands, we help owners, investors, and partners unlock value at every stage. Visit RelianceHospitality.com to learn more, and let's build something remarkable together. So I find it funny when you've got these CEOs going on TV about these return to office mandates, and they're saying, it's because they're not being productive and this and that. And it's like, well, I've had the opposite experience where people have been significantly more productive not in an office. But again, it's that, I asked some salespeople we were interviewing recently that are all remote. How do you manage your time? What types of things do you put in place for yourself? Because there won't be somebody there to monitor you. And I think there are people that aren't good in a situation where they can't be monitored. But I think
there's a million different types of personalities.
Right.
That work. Right. So yes, I think that some people enjoy the social experience of being in office. I think that some people have an easier time building relationships when they meet somebody in person. That's something for me is a big deal. Like I've been building virtual companies 7-8 years. It's only been virtual. I haven't been in like an office or even hired somebody in person in a very long time. So I'm very used to it now. It's like it's kind of comfortable for me. I know how to onboard somebody. I know how to communicate with them. I know how to get them motivated about their work. You do it enough, you get decent at it.
Right.
But I still, the first time I meet somebody, I like to grab a coffee in person. Like it's very hard to build a strong relationship remotely, so I understand that. But also, like if I'd been doing it for 8 years, then it's very uncomfortable. It's hard. If I don't have the tools or the know-how, or if I don't really know how to motivate somebody, and the only way that I can get them to work is because I don't actually care, for example, about their career goals, and I've never even paid attention to where they want to end up in their career, which is a great way to motivate somebody. If I've never done that as a manager, and I have no idea where they're going to end up in 5 years from now, and the only way I can make them work is just by walking by their desk every 45 minutes, well, of course, it's going to suck going remote because I've lost my ability to, I wouldn't call it manage, but I guess it's a form of manage and lead. It's like a command and control model that is sort of like outdated and archaic.
Right.
But if I
And is that somebody you want on your team? Like, that's my thing.
You don't want, first of all, as a manager, that person doesn't know what they're doing and is going to be a dinosaur and no longer be able to function in a modern business world very, very soon.
Right.
And secondly, correct. If a person who I've hired has no interest in doing the work that I've hired them to do, and they only do it because they see me walking by my desk, it's a compounded problem, right? Like, first of all, no, that's not a great person that you want to work for you. But also, the reason why they probably don't give a shit is because they don't see their future with your company, and you haven't made an effort to figure out what they actually want their future to look like. So they're just sort of like going through the motions and existing and pulling a paycheck. It's as much their fault as it is your fault. It takes two to create a situation like that. Meanwhile, if when I was hiring them, I understood where they wanted to end up, how much money they wanted to make, what they wanted their life to look like, what education they needed to get to the next level, what title they wanted to hold, what company they maybe even wanted to work for if it wasn't mine. Maybe they want to work for a Google in 5 years. If I know all these things, and as the company, I'm finding a way to move them in a direction that's going to accomplish their life goals, and it's not really that hard to help somebody accomplish something like this.
No, not at all.
Then all of a sudden, the time while they're with my company, they're giving 150% because they know that I'm one of very few companies that's going to help them understand how to get a project manager role at Google in 5 years after they spend 5 years with me. But if I'm willing to do that, I'm getting more out of that person than most other people ever will. Yeah. But most people don't go through the effort of even caring about what that person cares about in life, where they want to go, what drives them as a human, what lights them up. Because people, I don't know. I found that if I know where people want to go, honestly, like the management and the work and the leadership takes care of itself, because I'm just helping somebody get. I'll give you a more concrete example, not so esoteric. My CMO right now, his name's Ali. I've been working with him since I started the podcast, and he manages my whole editing team and whatnot. And when I first started working with him, I found him on, it was like a Fiverr or an Upwork, I can't remember. He's not based in the US. So we connected, he started working, he was doing video editing. And basically he wanted to build a whole marketing agency, not just be like a solo video editor. And that was his goal. And I said, okay, let's get you there. And over the past 6 years, he's asked me everything and anything he's ever wanted to ask me about: how to build out an agency, how to hire, how to close more deals, how to build out an offer, how to build out websites, how to write great copy for landing pages. And I don't know everything, but I've helped him enough to the point where he has a really decent sized marketing agency right now, and he's making more money than he knows what to do with in his home country. And like, he's still my CMO, but he works with a whole bunch of other clients, and he has a whole team now supporting many clients. And obviously he's done like the best work for me, but also he's built his own life in the process. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's like the best thing you can ever do for somebody. And I'm not taking credit for his work, but I'm just saying, like, at least I gave a shit enough to care. And if he ever asked, I'd help him along the way. Right. I don't think many people even do that. But now, like, that, he's giving me 150% of himself. And at the same time, he's accomplished his career goals. And we found a way where he could even accomplish his career goals and not sacrifice sort of the quality of my work, because I've given him a playbook for hiring and building out SOPs and sort of guaranteeing a quality of work with the people that you hire. So even as he moved away from my editor, because he doesn't edit my stuff anymore, now he manages a team, the quality was never sacrificed. So that is the perfect example of, in my opinion, how you actually manage and lead somebody. You help them get to where they want to go. And if the future version of them includes you, great. Like with Ali, it did. I love it. Thank God. I don't want to find anyone else to do my stuff and run my podcast.
And it's got to be fulfilling for you to see what he's done.
Well, yeah, for sure. But I care. Yes, for sure it is. But like, if the future version of Ali was like, listen, Scott, like, I want to do something else. I want to start my own podcast. I'm not going to be doing this stuff anymore. But okay, let me get you there. And then, as opposed to just stopping work one day, let's set a period of time where we can find somebody new. Please just help me train somebody new. And then after that person's up and running, we'll say, like, give them like 3 or 4 months just to learn how you do what you do. And after that new person's up and running, then you go do your own thing, and we don't have to work together anymore. And the future version of Ali doesn't include me, which is fine. It doesn't matter. But at least I got, again, 100+% out of him while we were working together, which I think is the biggest issue people come across. They have these people that are half in, half out, quiet quitting, taking interviews while they're on their lunch with other companies. They're not fully invested. They're drifting through their day. If somebody's not walking by their desk, they're not really working that hard. All these things could be rectified with just them believing and you delivering that, and them believing that while they work for you, you are going to help them get to where they want to go. And if you do that effectively, they will give 150% of themselves.
And I do, like you mentioned, quiet quitting, because that was on the headlines a lot. I remember last year.
It still happens.
And it's still happening. But my thing with the quiet quitting thing was, that's, if you have quiet quitting happening within your organization, it's not a them issue, it's a you issue with you and your leadership team. You need to look inside, and because you're not paying attention. Because I feel like we've all had those people that have worked for us where it's like, something's up. But I think you and I are probably similar in terms of, we want to have a rapport with the people that we're working with and like understand them. And my thing was always, it's easier for me if I know more about the person, or I know what makes them tick. I can make them more productive at the end of the day. And which always made me happy. And and you said another great thing. Like, the reality is, the future doesn't always, just like relationships, the future doesn't always include certain people. So, and it's the same personally, it's the same professionally. It's hard to find people who have had the same friends for 50 years. It's also, it's almost impossible to find somebody that's had the same boss for the last 50 years. But
it's just understanding that not everybody's going to be around forever, especially in a professional context.
Yeah.
Like, understand that it's very rare that somebody's going to work for your company from when they're 20 to when they're 60. So why are we pretending that that's going to happen when it's probably not going to happen?
Yeah.
So let's just structure our business so that we're not like blindsided by when they leave.
I had a great interview with a guy yesterday that was connected to me through one of the universities that we work with. And he's graduating from school next month, and he comes from a family that's been in the business and everything. And I was excited by the end of this phone call with this guy because he wants to get into the weeds on a lot of the different areas of the business. He already has the basics down. He wants to move to the next level. But he would be a great example of somebody that, like, if he had told me yesterday, like, well, my goal is to come and hopefully I can work for you for the next 25 years, that I would have lost my excitement for him. Like, I woke up this morning, he was first on my mind thinking, you know what, I got to set him up to talk to XYZ people because I think he could be good for us. He could also we could help him grow as well. But I don't want the person that is going to say that they want to be here for 20 years, because to me, that is an indication that the person's not wanting to look ahead at how they are going to improve themselves. And they're just settling. And I don't want somebody that's just going to settle, because I feel like if you settle in that way, you're going to settle on, okay, well, that collateral looks okay. I could make some more edits, but it looks good. So let's just go ahead and
they settle across the board because they lose the excitement for their job.
I think, again, we've mentioned a couple old school mentalities that I still think are prevalent. Like, people are like, well, why, this person's worked 6 places. I'm like, well, they're 40 years old. I hope they've worked 6 places. Like, why does this shock you?
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine.
But I do love the guys, Scott, that are like, well, you know what? I guess it's just my generation. Cause we would go get a job and we would stay there from, until the day we retired. Like, I like those guys because it's like they recognize that that's just not how the world works today. And
yeah, it's not. And like, strategically, if you're going to be an ambitious person, I don't expect you to like, my goal when I work with somebody is like, give me 3 years because I have to onboard you. I want to get good work out of you, and give me 3 years, but don't like quit at the 2.5.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to, so at the 3-year mark, you're probably going to want more money, different title. You're probably going to, whatever you want to do. If you're working around entrepreneurs, you tend to want to become one at some point too, which is a whole other thing. But just give me 3 years. And then at the end of 3 years, where do you want to be? How much do you want to make? Okay, let's find a way to get you there. Or let's find a way. If I don't have a big company right now. I've worked in bigger companies before, and I used to have opportunities to move people into different positions. I don't have that right now. Like, I don't have like another director position in a podcast. There's no director position. So if you're doing marketing for me right now, okay. So if you want to take the experience and go somewhere else, that's fine. But don't start going there at the 2.5-year mark. I'll help you get there, and we'll find a way, and I'll write you the best reference letter ever, and I'll make some calls to people that run larger companies, and I'll get you a job there. But give me the 3 years, and then you can go somewhere else.
Yeah. And I think you have to, as a leader, I think you also have to be open to having that conversation with them too.
You have to.
And accept the fact that the person is going to go and move on to do different things, because like, it makes me happy to know people I've worked with and that have worked for me have gone on and are doing amazing things, and they're working for great companies. And that gives me satisfaction knowing that I did. And I don't think I really and maybe it's because we're getting older, but I feel like now it's like you do come in contact with those people, and you haven't seen them for several years, and then they tell you, and then it's always the weirdest things that they'll tell me as to why, like that, oh, Bryan, you helped me so much with XYZ thing. And I'm thinking, that was like, in my mind, I'm thinking, how is that the defining moment for like how you decided to like pursue this harder? But then I'm like, I guess it's like parenting. Like, you just show what you're supposed to do, and you do the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's really it. But it's also like, that's why it's so important to like lead by example, right? Because you never know who's watching.
Ever. Yeah. Yeah. Because everybody, the person you think is not watching is the one that's always watching. So, Scott, what are you not very good at these days or at all, ever?
So much. The list goes on and on. What am I not good at?
I mean, you just seem so good at so many things. So,
Okay.
I
try, but I'm not. I think that I seem like I'm okay at a lot of different stuff because I either outsource my weaknesses, or if it's a weakness that I can't outsource because it's so important for the business, I obsess over learning it until I don't suck at it. In my business, which is really content creation, interviewing, social media content, I write a newsletter, that kind of stuff. I get obsessed with like learning and practicing my craft, and I'll think of something that I suck at, but just bear with me. This is around.
I know it's that interview. It's like when you go for an interview and people ask, what is your weakest skill? Which I always wonder, does anybody actually? How many people are truly honest during that question?
Well, I think listen, I do think strengths can be weaknesses. Yeah. Like I am for sure obsessed with the work that I do, which is what I ironically that's what I think it takes to be successful at something. I think you do have to be obsessed with it. But on the flip side, as much as I talk about not letting your work control your life, I mean, it does at sometimes control my life. I don't think that's a strength. I don't think it's a strength when things don't go well and you get depressed or you get anxiety. I don't think those are strengths.
Right. Yeah.
But they happen.
Yeah.
Because you're so obsessed with it. Now, if I didn't give a shit about my work, well, I probably wouldn't be successful at what I do. But then if something didn't go right, I probably also wouldn't care.
Right.
So, I mean, I think all entrepreneurs have a tough time managing their emotions when things don't go right because their identity is tied to their business. So I don't think I'm great at that. Like when I lose a deal, when shit doesn't go right, when somebody screws something up, like something simple. Like the other day we posted a podcast and the editor in the intro said the guest, who's like a very famous guest, is a single mother. She's never been a single mother. I don't know where the hell they got that, but we'd already uploaded it to YouTube. Like that kills me. I know it's like not a big deal for the rest of the world, but to me it's like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. Like how can we pull such as amateur hour bullshit? And like the person who's very well known is also a friend of mine. So she's like, Scott, what the fuck? I'm not a single mother. Why are you saying this? No respect, no disrespect for single mothers, but like I'm not one. So why did you put that in? And I'm like, it was just, so it's not a big deal, but in my mind, I let it become a big deal because I'm like, that's not the standard of content that we create. We just don't make those mistakes. Yeah. So it bugs me. And I've also this is a micro thing. People be like, Scott, it's not the end of the world. I mean, there are bigger things that have happened, even in my business, where I've lost very large deals for whatever reason. And yeah, you kind of get into a funk and I think that this is where having like good mental health practices. So whether or not it's like some people journal and meditate, I don't do that. I like going to the gym. Gym legitimately puts me in a better headspace, and having a partner, like a spouse at home that pulls you out of your funk, I think is so important, because anybody who's doing anything incredible, it's going to be really difficult and shit's going to go wrong. And because that business is so tied to your identity, it's going to be really hard for you to pull yourself out of it. Every problem is going to seem bigger than it is. And I think that having like a spouse or a partner that can be like, hey, it's not that bad. Life's actually very good. Let's zoom out. Let's understand that, let's apply a little bit of perspective to how small this problem is in the grand scheme of things, and have that partner pull you out of like a negative headspace, I think is very important. Right. So yeah, I don't know.
No, and you have to have that I've been saying a lot lately. It's like, you have to have those people that are willing to tell you sometimes the hard truths of what other people won't tell you.
Yes.
Or to tell you like,
so like if you're hard on yourself, they have to pull you out of that. If you are being a little bit delusional, then they have to apply some harsh reality. Right. So both ends of that spectrum.
Yeah. I'll give another shout out to Dr. Donna. That's why that's why I fell in love with her so much at the beginning.
She's good at both of those things.
She's good at both those things, and especially on the delusional side. And so one thing I like.
At? I'm trying to think. Oh, I know what I'm bad at. I know what I'm actually bad at. I'm like, for me, I'm an introvert. You asked me what I'm bad at. I said, well, if I'm bad at something, I just kind of learn how to do it better.
Right.
ironically, speaking on stage, interviewing people, and like just networking and like just going into a room, it doesn't give me, well, actually speaking on stage and interviewing people, that's a lie. They do give me energy because it's a little bit of a different circumstance, but just going into a room and networking, it does not give me energy. And not because of the people or anything. I'm not an extrovert by nature. Like I don't get energy from speaking to 50 people. That drains the hell out of me. I think a lot of people are the same actually.
But 100%. Like funny thing is I feel like I'm happy to hear that you consider yourself an introvert because I also am the same way. And over the years I've learned it's crazy to me the number of people that do things like this or that are public figures that are actually introverts. It's like, but you still perform, let's say.
You have to. So you asked me what I suck at. I don't think I'm bad at it now, but I don't like going into a room and chatting with 50 people.
Yeah.
But because of my work, I have to. So sometimes you have to turn on and just deal with it and understand that on the other side of this thing, like going into a room, networking with people, to me, like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I really don't want to do that. But it is required for the game that I'm playing. Right. So I will do it, and I will do it to the best of my ability. And after I do it, I'm always like, you know what? That wasn't like so bad. Got some good relationships out of this. You know, it was a useful night. But every time I'm sitting at home right before I go out, I'm like, fuck this. I don't want to go out. I don't want to go to this.
I know there's always that. Do you get like I always call it like it's the 60-minute wind down because I'm like an hour before I have to go to an event. Like I start to think, I'm like, well, can I not? Do I have to? Do I need to?
Yes, I always do that.
I'm like, am I going to get something out of it? Who's going to be there? Because it's the interaction. Now, at the same time, you could ask me to go speak on a stage with 250 people watching at the same event. I'll go do the presentation. I'd be just fine. It's the meeting all the individual people stresses me out. And to your point, it's exhausting. People don't realize how like much energy.
You know why I think it is? I'll tell you why I think it is. I think that at least my personality, I feel like you're very similar. So I'm going to make an assumption, but you care about people a lot. You want to show up and be your best. If somebody asks you a question, you pour like 150% of your heart and soul into the answer because you don't want to just like half-ass an answer.
Right.
And when that kind of person that is a very empathetic, sort of caring person that loves to fill a teacher role in some capacity, and that's why you do what that's why you jump on stage. That's why you do this podcast, because you like helping people, you like teaching people, you like seeing somebody transform from where they are today to learning a little bit new, and then their life gets better. Like that's how a lot of people are. Yeah. But especially people that create a lot of value-based content like what we do. And when somebody asks you a question in a live environment, you don't feel right just having a casual, like high-level conversation about it. You're like, I know so much about this. I want to go deep on it. But that drains a lot of energy to do that repeatedly. Yeah. So what ends up happening when I go out to an event, it's not like they're like full-on consulting calls, but like I will have 20 plus very deep tactical business strategy conversations, and I'll be like actively thinking about, okay, this person has this business and this problem. Let me think about 5 different ways they could deal with they have this thing happening in their business. Let me think of 5 different ways we could solve this, and let's brainstorm and just riff off ideas together in like a very casual setting. But like I really only have that mode. Like if somebody has an idea or a problem, like I like to jump into it, but you do that 20 times in a night, it's really tiring. Yeah.
Then when you get in the car and you're just like,
yeah. And sometimes like Gina will be like, hey Scott, like we got to go. And I'll be having like hour-long conversation with people about their business, their life, whatever. Cause I like to go deep. Right. Which is why I think I do what I do for a living. But to do that with 20 people back to back to back to back, it's very tiring. But then also when you just stay surface level, I get so bored. I'm like, I don't care about weather or sports or stuff. Like, not that I don't care about weather and sports, but I don't care about weather and sports in the context of I'm trying to get to actually know you. Right. I want to like learn about you. I want to learn about what you do for a living. I want to learn about, because I'm just a curious person by nature. So I think that that's why I get tired. And I understand that if I'm going to expose myself to a networking event, I'm going to have 15 conversations with people, whatever. that are very deep and very nuanced. And I know that it's going to be a tiring experience, but that's kind of just how I do networking. So maybe that's maybe that's another thing I suck at, to be quite honest, because I don't do it the best, but this is the way that I do it.
You obviously, when you started out doing this, you had an idea, you decided to do the podcast, it's grown. Was it awkward for you as an introvert to have to watch and listen to yourself? And how
I don't watch and listen to myself. To this day, I have not watched and listened to a full podcast that I've created. I hate it. This is bad advice, by the way. This is very bad advice. You should listen to your own stuff and you should listen back to it. I can't stand it. So I've obsessively seeked out advice from people that I respect to listen to my stuff, because I hate listening to my own stuff. Yeah. When somebody plays my content when I'm in the room, like, I want to die. I really can't stand it. If I hear somebody playing when I'm with friends and I'll hear my voice on their phone because they'll just be like scrolling through Instagram, I'll be like, please, like, stop.
Yeah.
Just because I can't. So I've hired people to like review and listen and like heavily critique my content, because I really hate doing it myself.
Okay.
It's just not something I find enjoyable. And I also objectively want somebody who I actually am too harsh. So if I was going to listen to my own stuff, it would never get published.
Okay. You'd end up editing it to the point where there's nothing left.
Yeah. So I need to understand my strengths and my weaknesses, and my strength is being that obsessed about what I put out, but also understanding that we got to ship stuff. Yeah. We gotta publish. And there's one guy in my company, and his only job is to just listen to the podcast after it's been edited and just make sure that it doesn't, that it's compelling, that it's something that people want to listen to. And
well, you've made me feel good a few times during this about some of the things that I do.
Well, I appreciate that. But
one of which is I don't, it's taken me a year to get to the point where I still won't watch. So I don't watch the video footage that is produced, but I still those first 2 years I could not listen, or the first 2 seasons I couldn't listen to myself, because I was like, oh my God, like, I sound horrific. And then now I've gotten to the point where I can listen, but I
listen to
watch
segments. I just don't like it.
Yeah, really, it's so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable.
I listen to other people's a lot. Like, all I do is listen to other podcasts and see how I can make mine better. I'll think about different questions to ask. I'll ask my editors. I'll be like, okay, how good did I sound? How great were the questions? Did I have verbal tics? Did I say like and ah and and I think that, listen, everybody who's starting, I mean, you want more social tips. I can't remember what I said or what we spoke about last time, but when you're starting, like, the most important thing to do, first of all, is find something that you're comfortable creating, meaning that I don't think that everybody should just create every style of content. Just because somebody's dancing on TikTok doesn't mean you have to do it. I think that the type of content that you're going to be successful at creating is the one that you can show up and do for an unreasonable amount of time, right? It could be podcasts, it could be short and YouTube style, it could be newsletters, it could be Twitter, it could be TikTok dances, it could be memes on Instagram. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is that you can do it for a long period of time. So just pursue content creation that sort of ties into your personality, not just what's trendy, because that will be the biggest indicator of success. If you can find a way to just do it for an extended period of time, which kind of just means that you have to enjoy doing it before there's any money that comes from it. Because when you first start, it's going to be crickets always. No one is there with your first post, your first podcast, or your first reel. Yeah. So
you're not putting billboards up on Hollywood Boulevard to get listeners. It's not working that way. So just real quick, you've mentioned this a few times today about newsletters. Mm-hmm. And it's something that I've been seeing a lot more, like, things posted about, like, starting these newsletters. What is the trend right now with newsletters? Is there a paywall, or is it just to build the mailing list? Like, what's the...
I think it's so the way you monetize a newsletter, that's up for debate. I mean, you can do it a variety of different ways, right? I think it depends on the objectives that you have. So yes, you can do a paywall, you could do gated, you could do paid content, you can do free content, you can get advertisers. I think the goal of a newsletter should be to own your audience. So it should be to move your audience off of social media into an audience that you own. And I think that when you do that, just for context, when you post something on Instagram or anywhere, say you have, 100,000 followers, maybe 5 to 10% of those followers are actually going to see your content. Versus when you have a newsletter or an email list, 100% of those people are going to receive that email. Now, whether or not you keep it free because you sell a product or a service, or the email itself is a product or service, that's your choice. There's a million different ways to do it. But I think that the whole goal is to own your audience and not just rely and be dependent on these social media platforms. I mean, not a lot of the content that I put out is going to get me canceled or get my accounts banned, but you never know what's going to happen. So I think that that's why it's so important to own your own audience and build your own list. It's the easiest way to directly communicate with customers. And in terms of, what's trending, well, yeah, there's some creators I just am experimenting now with doing paid newsletters. I haven't for a long time, but I'm experimenting with that because my business is content creation. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people whose business is a product or service, and they just use a newsletter to communicate that product or service, which it would make no sense to paywall it, because the more people that hear about your product or service, the more people that are actually going to buy it. But I would say that always have a list. Doesn't matter what you're doing with it, just so that you own that audience. And then in terms of content for newsletters, you can do a variety of different things. You can do sort of trending news in your industry. You can do thought leadership content. You can do a mixture of both. You could take this podcast, pick a topic from it, turn it into transcribe it, write a newsletter about one particular topic that we spoke about, and then say, hey, in this podcast, we also spoke about all these other things. Go listen to the full show. And then the newsletter could just be a marketing vehicle for your podcast while offering a ton of value as well, like thought leadership content. You could do whatever you want really with it.
Right.
But you just have to know how it ties into your main business objectives. That's all.
I guess I know they've been around for a while now, but it seems like they're starting to become a new big trend, and there's
because they're just
conferences on them now.
Because creators, I think they're always, every company in the world has always had an email list.
Right.
Now I just think they're becoming popular because you have these creators that are building massive audiences on platforms outside of Instagram. So I think that also the evolution of the creator economy has led to more people being writers on platforms like Substack or Medium. Because but these are people that had blogs for forever. They're just finding new ways to write content. I think that these platforms are, they attract a new audience. They attract a new demographic. I think that blogs maybe seemed outdated for a while. So content creators went to Instagram and switched their focus up, or they went to podcasts. Now they're coming back to writing again because that's their true passion. So now you have a whole bunch of big content creators that are now writing newsletters when they used to be bloggers back 10 years ago. It's just more content creation. Maybe some of those bloggers that did blogging, did Instagram, did TikTok, did YouTube, did podcasts, now went back to the roots and started writing again. That would bring their audience with them. So then it seems like newsletters are a thing again, but really they're just an audience following the creator.
They never went away. They're just coming back with another tool in the toolbox.
Different tool. Yeah, another tool, another medium to create content. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
But I do think they're very powerful because, again, you own your audience. Whereas social, you don't own your audience, which is a big differentiation.
Well, I think about what you said is key. The whole idea is you're moving them from social media over to into your own space.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's also a little bit in vogue right now too. It is.
Yeah. Like everything else, everything's a trend.
It's trends. It's cyclical.
Exactly.
Maybe, that, but it doesn't really matter. None of this conversation about what's cyclical or trending matters because, again, going back to what I recommend for creators, just do what you enjoy.
Right.
If you enjoy writing, do a newsletter. You could do a newsletter when it's not trending, but if you do it for long enough, you don't need 1 million, 2 million, 10 million people to know about your newsletter to build a good business out of it, right?
Right.
So if you do it for long enough, yeah, maybe it's not trending, but you're still going to be able to find 5,000, 10,000 people that like your writing at any point in time. Right. And then that builds a nice little creator business.
One of the key questions I'm asking people this year is, I think it's very important that we surround ourselves with people, as we were talking, that can give us the honest truth and give us good feedback and be that person. Like my example is always, I have a few people that are people that will tell me no, and they'll tell me that I'm crazy. But I also have a whole litany of people that'll just act like everything I say is fantastic, and I don't need that. I need somebody to tell me when I'm crazy. So who's in your inner circle? And what do you look for specifics in someone to be in your inner circle, or how does one get into Scott's inner circle?
I mean, specifics. No, I don't have like a list of criteria.
Yeah.
I think that honest, good, ambitious, and candid people. That's all I really need to surround myself with.
Yeah.
People that don't need anything from me, and I don't need anything from them, but we're all ambitious doing stuff, and they're just people that, you again, honest, good, candid, very important, but people that like, they're just, you sit down with them and they immediately, even if they don't know anything about what you're doing, can have a smart conversation about it and give you real candid feedback. I think those are good people.
Yeah.
I think it's also people that actually care about you, because people that care about you tend to give you like really good, candid, not all the time, but good, candid advice, because they want to see you succeed as opposed to just want to make you happy. And it really is about people that just don't need anything from you. That's the best kind of people that I've found. The second somebody like is trying to get something, it just ruins the relationship. I'm very cognizant of how many hours I have in a day. And if I do have like good friends, I want to make sure that I don't need a ton of them. I just need a few good ones, outside of like Gina, who I don't put her in the friend category, but outside of her, just a few good people. That's all you really need.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And especially I think having people that are that close to you they're not looking for anything from you.
Yeah, because
they don't need anything. They don't want anything.
It gets tainted. Yeah.
Yeah. I always it's funny. I like to give gifts, and it's like, but the only people I like giving gifts to are the people that don't expect it, or because the people that expect it,
very meaningful. It's very meaningful when like somebody is like, the people that have made money, they don't like, there's nothing I could ever buy them that they couldn't buy themselves, right? Like,
right.
Like, there's nothing. So you're like, okay, but now it comes down to the thoughtfulness of the gift. So it's nice.
Yeah, no, it's so true. So true. Well, Scott, I really appreciate you coming on this week.
Likewise. Thank you for
catching
having me,
up. We'll be sure to have you back next year.
Yes.
We'll just make it an annual thing. And I need to come to Miami, and
you can hang out here. We can film here.
Yeah, no, that would be fantastic. So we'll make sure, I'll tell Tyler to make that happen. So
do it.
Awesome. Well,
you travel enough. I'm offended that you
I do. I just need to like jump out of the plane at some point when I'm going over my
right? Exactly.
Right? Yeah. No, for whatever reason, I usually am in Florida a few times by this point in the year. And I think I've been to Florida once. So this has been a weird travel year for me too. So
that's fine.
It's been unusual. So, but thank you everybody. And be sure to check out Friday's episode of the Friday Checkout. We'll drop at 9 a.m. Eastern on all the platforms where you get your podcast. And we will check in with Scott again, hopefully soon on his side of the world. So awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thanks, man.
This episode of Check In with Bryan is a production of RH Media Productions, hosted by Bryan Fish, executive producer Tyler Alexander, marketing support provided by Sunny Timbler. Thanks for checking in. Be sure to follow us wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss this week's Friday Checkout coming this Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Reliance Hospitality Global Incorporated or any of its affiliates, partners, or subsidiaries. All content is for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be interpreted as professional or legal advice.